Rachel here with Swell Company, and today we're installing and assembling our upper cabinets for a 2023 Ford Transit 148. This is what it looks like complete. We've made these to fit the curvature of your van, and the aluminum backs lessen the weight, add extra strength, and make for an easy install. It's flat pack shipped to you, so this is what it'll look like when it arrives. We have our pre-cut and labeled pieces. You have your sides, your base, your metal backs, your shelf, and then your cabinet front face. You'll have your hardware and your T-handle included in your kit. We also recommend that you have a driver with a standard Phillips head bit, a mallet, wood glue, sandpaper, wood clamps, and optionally some Loctite and a screwdriver. Now that we've got all our materials laid out, we can get started on our hardware. So we've got 2 cabinet hinges, 4 truss head screws for the cabinet hinges, 4 Euro screws for the cabinet hinges. We've got our cabinet face latch, along with 2 truss head screws for the latch system. We've got 4 shelf pins, 4 barrel bolts to begin with, and then 4 15mm bolts. We're assembling our front cabinets closest to the driver's side seat here, and wanted to highlight that the dimensions for the front cabinet is slightly different than the ones towards the back due to the curvature of the ceiling in the van. So we've got our 2 side pieces here, and it does matter which one goes on either the right or the left side. You can tell this piece goes closest to the driver's side because it's got a straight line or cut right here, unlike this side. And then it also does not have a little recessed punch out where the barrel bolt sits. We've got our latch catch that will get mounted into the base. We've got our barrel bolts that'll get pounded into the side pieces. And then we've got our cabinet hinges that'll get screwed into the sides as well. So we've got our base here, and as you can see, there's 2 pre-drilled spots where this catch will go. And you want to make sure that when you screw it in, the holes are centered on this plate, and then we'll just drill it into the holes. I wanted to explain barrel bolt placement before we slam them in. So we've got our side piece that is closest to the driver's seat. Those will have all 4 barrel bolts. For the left side piece, we're not gonna use both or all 4 barrel bolt holes yet. We're gonna wait. We're only gonna put half in. And just to explain, when we have this cabinet assembled, it's going to join with the other cabinet face here. And there will be a longer bolt piece that connects right here and right here to keep these cabinets from shaking around. So we're gonna leave the one closest to the cabinet face clear, and then the one on the top here clear. All right, so here we have our 2 side pieces. This side will be closest to the driver's side, and then this will be closer to the back of the van like this. When they're standing up, you'll see this is where we attach the hinges for the front face. And so I've already attached this hinge right here, and we'll just mirror it on the other side. We're gonna ignore these 2 holes, and we're gonna install them on these 2 lower holes right here. So it'll be easier to, if you close the hinge, and then place it on the correct slots. And then you're gonna take your Euro screws and you're gonna use your driver to screw them in, like so. And now we're gonna attach these sides to the base here. So the first thing we're gonna do when we attach this side piece to the base is we need to sand the finish edge here that meets with the end grain of this piece. So we're sanding off this little strip so the glue adheres better because the finish doesn't provide enough of a tacky surface for the glue to adhere to the wood. All right, next we're gonna use construction adhesive. If you look closely here, right where this bigger notch tapers down into the smaller notch, we're gonna place a pea-sized bead of construction adhesive, like so, in each slot. And this is where our lock dowels will slide into place. Before we slide that into place though, we're gonna use wood glue, just a little bit, on this side and this side. Spread it out. All right, next step. The lock dowels will line up with these bigger bump outs or cutouts like this. And you're gonna just press it in like that and then push it towards the back. And you just wanna get it started. Just about there is fine. And then you're gonna have the clamp do the rest of the work. And since this is the front facing side here, you're gonna wanna make sure that these two panels are flush with each other. So we're gonna install these metal backs next. They are directional, so you'll see an arrow on both of them. You wanna make sure that arrow is pointing towards the front of the van. So just to illustrate, we don't want it that way, we want it this way. And as you can see here, we've got one on the back, one on the top. So we're just gonna mirror that. First up, we'll install it on the back. They go on these two bigger holes right here. And we'll kind of want to line it up. And then remember, we don't have a barrel bolt in there yet, so we're just going to put it on the bottom one. And at this point, you don't have to screw it in very far. It's just a placeholder so it doesn't fall back down. And then you'll line up these holes. And pop in one there. We're gonna install the top bar now. So I've got my 3 bolts loaded with Loctite. We're just gonna push this guy in. Then okay, so we have the cabinet face here, and we're going to install the latch system. You'll notice there's a little tooth, I guess, that sticks out, pops out right there. So what we're gonna do is, this is actually the inside of the face, and then this will be the front. So we're gonna stick it in here, and we want that little tooth to stick downwards towards the bottom. And then you can pop that. And this piece is what's gonna catch on the metal latch we installed on the base. So go ahead and twist that down. All right, and then we've got our 4 truss head screws. These ones we're gonna hand crank into these 4 holes. We're gonna ignore these 2 and install on the bottom 4. And you wanna screw them down about halfway. You wanna be careful not to strip these out. These are gonna end up sliding into our cabinet hinges, which is why we're leaving a little bit of space. All right, so normally we would wait to install the cabinet face until we're inside the van and these are already bolted to the ceiling and the wall. But just for demonstration purposes, I want to show you how this gets attached to these cabinet hinges. So first off, I'm gonna just pop these hinges out like so. And as you can see, there's holes here in which our screws will get placed through, and then it'll slide down. So we're just gonna line it up like that. And then it'll slide down. And then we'll normally take a screwdriver so we don't strip them out, and then crank them in and tighten them. You'll be able to adjust the height and stuff where you want it. But like I said, for now, first we need to take these and install them in the van before we put the cabinet faces on. All right, so now we've got 2 almost completed cabinets, and next we're gonna join them together. So you'll see here, it'll make sense why we left 2 holes and didn't place any bolts or barrel bolts in them. It's because those will be the attachment points to bring these 2 together. So we'll just slide these together, line them up as best we can. And then next, you'll need 2 3/4 inch barrel bolts. So those will be your longer barrel bolts. And then we have 2 30-inch bolts. So we'll just start by slamming the barrel bolts in. I like to offset these. So on one side, I'll slam a barrel bolt in this way, and then down here, I'll slam the other one in, coming in from this side. For offsetting, and at this point, you can take some of that Loctite and load those 2 30mm bolts with them. And we'll come down in here and insert that bolt. Then come over to this other side and screw that one in. And we're gonna take our T-handles and we're going to tighten them up. I like to leave them a little bit loose. That way, when we're taking these into the van, we can kind of wiggle them around and figure out how these slots here line up with the bolt holes in the van. All right, so I've pre-clamped these. The last portion of joining these 2 cabinets together is we're gonna attach bolts and barrel bolts to these bottom 2 holes. And we're gonna do that using our 3/4 inch barrel bolt and our 25mm bolt. Awesome. It's okay if it doesn't go in all the way. Once you screw on the bolt, it'll ratchet in nice and tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and preload these bolts with my Loctite. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten these ones up. I'll get it started, and these ones I'm actually gonna wrench down all the way. And so next, we'll line these up inside the van and figure out where the bolts will go in on these metal backs.